Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. We Are Sorry 3 Times, written by I'm Not Angry. Admiral Krath Draken stood up from his chair on the bridge of his flagship, looked around at his command staff that were all carrying out his orders, and sighed deeply. He took one more look at the display showing the size and makeup of the Bavari fleet that was bearing down on them. His fleet was the last line of defense between the Bavari and the homeworld of Ch'tar, and he knew that he was not going to be able to stop them. In just over 30 minutes, they would be in weapons range, and all the Krath could do was try and get as many non-combatants out of the line of fire as he could. With all that in mind, he turned to the human ambassador that had been standing by the door, waiting for his attention. "Mr. Adams, I do not know why you would come here at this time, but I will be commandeering your ship and loading it with as many of my people as it can accommodate for you to get out of this." He waved his claw vaguely at the tactical screen, showing the Barari fleet situation. "Yes, Admiral, happy to help with that. In exactly 15 minutes you can have full command of my ship and do with it as you please, but until then, can we talk? I was sent with some formal business that needs attending to." "I do not know what formal business you might have with a man about to go down with his ship, but if you can talk while we walk to the medical bay, then so be it," replied the Admiral as he stalked out of the bridge door. "Am I correct that you are the same Krath Draken that attended the welcoming ceremonies between Earth and Ch'tar all those years ago?" said the ambassador from just behind Krath as they walked down the corridor. "Why, yes, I was. I may have been the most junior member of the Ch'tar delegation, but I was there." "Ah, yes, good then. I believe you knew my grandfather, James Adams." That got Krath's attention. He slowed down his brisk walk and looked down at the ambassador. "Oh, you're Jimmy's grandson, are you?" 97 years ago, Earth, the Human Ch'tar Alliance ceremony. Lieutenant James Adams stood against the wall of the far back corner of the room. The diplomats giving the big speeches were so far away he couldn't tell one from another, just human or Ch'tar, and the general hum of the Ch'tar and the humans in the room masked even the audio. But that was fine. His only job today was to accompany his assigned Ch'tar and make sure nothing bad happened to him. "First time at one of these," James said up to the Ch'tar, who at 8 feet towered over James's 6. "Yes, came the reply. "They are not very common. Finding a new neighbor this close to our borders was a surprise. Any further away and we would have just been simply trading partners. You're so close, though, that getting formal diplomatic relations now will save us from issues later. We hope. Yourself, have you been to similar ceremonies before?" "Oh, no," said James. "We have only had true interstellar flight for a handful of years now, and as far as I know, we have only directly met a few races other than the Ch'tar, and none of them seemed interested in more than being trading partners." "Yes, well, the alliance gets tricky. That is why most races will only get involved with direct neighbors. I can send you a copy of The Fall of Azula Imperium after this. It details the fall of the last great galactic multicultural empire. Mostly dry reading, but it happened only a few hundred years ago, so it still lays heavy in the interspecies politics. My grandparents fought in some of those battles." "That actually sounds quite interesting. After this, want to find a spot to sit and chat about it." James figured his babysitting job might be easier if the 8-foot-tall, scaly-skinned red behemoth wanted to sit down and chat. "Yes, I cannot hear or see anything here anyways. Did I read in my briefing that you also consume ethyl alcohol for recreation?" inquired Krath casually. James smiled, despite himself. "You know, I do believe the Officers' Club is inside our current security perimeter. They will have a fine selection for you to try. Maybe today wasn't going to be so bad after all. Does, your digital translator know the word karaoke?" current day, to the Aegis, flagship for Admiral Krath's track and Chitaur System Defense Force. As Krath led the way into the medbay, Ambassador Adams continued speaking. Admiral, the first thing I need to tell you is, thank you. An entire generations of humans has been born and grown old, knowing the Chitaur as friends. Living in a galaxy where that friendship has a shield over our whole race, protecting us from our more aggressive neighbors and keeping the space lanes free from trouble with your large and powerful fleets. The Admiral scoffed. Ha! Not powerful enough. We had been at odds with the Virari for years, but had fallen into a nice stable standoff between equals. I don't know what changed in the last few months, but they are throwing 4 times more tonnage of ship into this war than we even thought they had. Our powerful fleets got swatted aside with almost no warning. So why, asked Mr. Adams, did you not ask us for help when things went sideways? Our alliance clearly states that we would come and help at any call. We owe you so much for all that you've done to us. Claxton sounds. 25 minutes until contact. All non-essential personnel are to evacuate immediately. Krath finished signing the medical discharge paperwork for all injured soldiers so that they could be evacuated as civilians. That might give them a chance at surviving another day. He turned towards the diplomat. After the first 2 engagements, those of us with access to the battle telemetry knew the outcome of the war. At this time, the Virari have had no reason to hate your people. If we had called you into this war and still lost, then we both would have fallen under the Virari thumb. As it is now, you have a chance. And in this universe, sometimes the best that we can offer is a chance. The same chance that I'm trying to give my people right now. Well, Admiral, then the second thing I need to tell you is that we're not just fighting the Virari. All of those extra ships, we investigated that also. And while they may look Virari, the metal in them has some distinct radiation signatures. Those ships were produced at a shipyard in a binary star system. But the Virari don't have any shipyards in a binary star system. Krath looked back over his shoulder towards the ambassador. They were at the armory where the Admiral was grabbing several sidearms to take back to the bridge with him. They had help. A third party supplied them as a proxy for this war. Yes, sir. We knew the Soras had a massive shipyard in Syria system, the binary star system. Out of curiosity, we sent a scout ship to investigate, and saw the hulls of several more Virari ships in production. And while the Virari may not have a quarrel with humanity, the Soras surely do, after the incident a few years ago. Claxon sounded. 20 minutes until contact. All non-essential personnel are to evacuate immediately. They were walking back onto the bridge. The Admiral sat back down in his chair. Be that as it may, Admiral, in the here and now, I need you to get your ship as far away from here as you can. Save as many people as possible for me. Saving as many of your people as possible is the plan, Admiral. But before I go, I need to say, we are sorry 3 times. First, we are sorry that we have not grown to equals yet in your eyes. You've given us so much protection over the years. We are sorry that we have not done more to earn it. Second, we are sorry that we are thieves. On that first night on your planet, while you were singing your rendition of Take Me Home Country Roads, you left your datapad with my grandfather so he could transfer a book off from it while you sang. He also, transferred a cache from your military documents. Claxton sound. 15 minutes until contact. All non-essential personnel are to evacuate immediately. Lastly, we are sorry that we are so late. It took us some time to get everything ready. The whole ship rocked as the new gravity waves washed over it and the ship's systems started compensating. Red lights and sirens started blaring on the bridge. Massive warp fields entering the system, radiation signatures unknown. They are either really big or really fast, screamed the ensign over the alarms. A little bit of both, said the ambassador. Might I suggest you switch to a visual display of the Virari fleet? What in the true hell's is going on, Mr. Adams? roared Admiral Krath-Draken as he leapt up from his chair. "They're coming in, danger close and pushing extreme radiation," the ensign called out. "Don't worry, my ship is feeding them telemetry. They know where they're going." With that, 4 massive oval ships of a design the Admiral had never seen before emerged from warp space between the 2 fleets. The new ships were carrying velocity directly towards the Virari. In front of each of the giant ship bows ran waves of orange radiation, burning through space hotter than a star, with all the built-up particle destruction they brought with them by driving engines while in warp space. "Are you insane?" screamed the Admiral. "That's Anuak radiation. Did you sacrifice the crews of those ships just for a chance at disabling some of the Virari's ships?" "One of the plans my grandfather stole from you was for a missile that would push radiation ahead of itself to multiply its damage effect. It was too small, and the radiation was too chaotic. After many years of work, we found that if we built a properly shaped ship, we could control the direction of that radiation. And with some extra shielding technology, it was mostly harmless to the occupants of that ship. It does still take a frightening long time to build up, and its effective range is quite small. For the last 15 minutes, my ship has been given targeting telemetry to them while they were coming in on the final approach." As he finished, they all watched as the radiation waves rolled over the Virari fleet. Smaller ships were torn to shreds. Larger ships had their shields stripped right off of them. The whole fleet now was sitting duck with a tour of Dreadnought-class ships to rake with some standard pulse, fusion, laser, and kinetic weaponry. Engines still firing, they pushed right through the enemy fleet, disabling or destroying everything they targeted. It was a massacre. As I got clear on the other side, warp signatures re-emerged, and a few seconds later, the 4 massive ships were gone again. They have a date with the Virari Home Defense Network. You should clean up here and join them. We're hoping that you specifically, Admiral, and the Chitaur in general, can take all the credit for this incident. We would rather not let word of our involvement get out. End of story. I just want to thank the T5 patrons and channel members. Bob the Dragon, Cam Maxwell, Casper Arnholtz, Estrella the Dreamer, Tryagain95, Fudigiol, Meridian117, Alithia, Jordan Bucksbaum, Angry Marine, Albarden Gusta, and Barkey. Thank you very much. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed. There are links down below, both to support this channel and for the author of this fiction. Anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic one, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.